Maya learned early how to disappear without leaving the room. She became good at reading pauses, at noticing when a silence stopped talking, at understanding that love, for some people, came with conditions quietly attached. At school, she was the helpful one, the listener, the girl who laughed softly so she wouldn't disturb anyone. At home, she learned that silence was safer than honesty, that emotions were inconvenient, that asking for reassurance sounded too much like weakness. So she adapted. She told herself it was maturity. Psychology would later call it emotional self-erasure. Maya grew up believing that being needed was the same as being loved. People came to her with problems, confessions, fears they couldn't say out loud. She absorbed them carefully, like glass held with bare hands. "You're so understanding," they said. "You're easy to talk to." No one asked what it cost her. She learned how to be calm while her chest tightened, how to say it's okay when it wasn't, how to shrink her needs until they became almost invisible. And when relationships ended, friendships, romances, connections she thought mattered, she blamed herself. If I were better, softer, less complicated, they would have stayed. The moment everything shifted was not dramatic. It happened on a Tuesday night. Maya was sitting alone in her apartment, scrolling through messages that never came. She had just helped a friend through another crisis, listened for hours, offered comfort, reassurance, presence. After the call ended, the silence felt heavy. She stared at her reflection in the dark window and realized something that made her stomach drop. No one actually knew her. They knew the version that never asked, never challenged, never said, "This hurts me." And suddenly, the loneliness felt different, sharper. That night, she cried, not because someone left, but because she had been leaving herself for years. Psychology talks about fawning, the trauma response where people please others to feel safe. Maya didn't know the term back then. She only knew she was tired. Tired of explaining herself away. Tired of apologizing for emotions that were never wrong to begin with. Tired of performing calm while feeling everything too deeply. The next morning, she made a quiet promise. She would stop betraying herself for comfort. Change didn't come gently. The first time Maya said no without explaining, her hands shook. The first time she expressed discomfort, her voice cracked. The first time she didn't soften her words to protect someone else's feelings, she felt terrifyingly exposed. Some people reacted badly. "You've changed," they said. "You're not as easy anymore." They were right. She wasn't. And for the first time, that didn't feel like a failure. She lost connections that depended on her silence. But she gained something unfamiliar and powerful. Space. Space to feel without apologizing. Space to speak without rehearsing. Space to exist without shrinking. Slowly, she began to recognize herself again. Not perfect, not polished, but real. Months later, Maya met someone who didn't flinch when she spoke honestly. Someone who listened without trying to fix her. Who didn't confuse her boundaries with rejection. Who stayed when she showed up as she was, imperfect, emotional, unapologetic. And in that calm presence, something inside her finally relaxed. She understood then. Love that requires self-abandonment is not love. It's survival. Maya still feels deeply. She still cares. But now she cares for herself too. She no longer mistakes silence for peace, or sacrifice for connection. She knows now that being unperfect doesn't make her unlovable. It makes her human. And being unapologetic? That's not arrogance. That's healing.